So without further ado, any other thing that we need to talk about before we get started? We've been working on this project for imaging for 2 years now. It probably hasn't moved along as fast as we want it to, but we've been steady and firm in our belief that branding for SIRS is very, very necessary. You know, they say the way you get people into any organization, either one of your members goes out and brings them in, or you have to put out enough breadcrumbs across the world that attracts them, that they find you and they come in. So that's part of what branding is all about, is putting breadcrumbs out in the community for people to find out what SIRS is all about. So the head of our breadcrumb committee is Dave Gonzalez. So Dave, it's all yours, buddy.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, I think that's a good analogy. Yeah, putting out breadcrumbs. Can I have my first slide, please? There we go. As you see, it's membership growth plan through marketing and public image. This marketing plan, this public image plan, is fully directed towards building bigger branch membership. It's a membership growth plan. We all know that membership growth and finding new branch leaders is probably at the top of the list for most branches as to their major concern. The Public Image Project was developed specifically to meet these two needs. Yes, public image is directed at increasing membership and finding new branch leaders, pure and simple. Can I have the second slide? Well, you may ask, why do we need a public image campaign? Well, we found SIR is largely unknown. We have over 100 branches in local communities. And I've heard time and time again, SIR members say that SIR is the greatest unknown in their community. We need to turn this around. We've had a tremendous loss of membership in some branches over the last year and a half. We've had a general loss of membership due to COVID throughout the branch network. We've had a lack of officers and directors, and a part of this is, I think, been a decline in our membership. And I would say that part of it is probably a result that SIR is graying. Our median age in SIR is approaching 80 years. In 1990, we had about 30,000 members. Today, we're in the neighborhood of 11,000. The fact is that our traditional recruiting method of one-to-one outreach in and of itself has not maintained our membership. This is not to say that we should quit the one-to-one outreach. It has been successful in the past. It can be successful in the future. But what we're suggesting here is a strategy that will attract new members by reaching new audiences, specifically younger prospects. Many branches can't find members to fill their critical leader positions. That's why I think we need to bring in younger members. With a median age of 80, many of our existing members have already taken major leadership positions in their branches. They're at a point in their life where they think they've done their part, and they probably have, and their interests go in a different direction than taking a second or third round of leadership in their branch. Younger members can bring in some new vitality, and we might be quite surprised at how quickly they're willing to take up leader positions and take the baton of bringing SUR forward into the future. Can I have the next slide? Why did we create this project? Why do we think it's going to work? Well, this project is informed by research. We did an extensive survey of SUR members to get an appraisal of what our membership issues are. We hired a consultant who's an expert in marketing and membership. Her name is Mary Odbert. You'll be hearing from her shortly. And we see from viewing other like organizations such as Rotary, Kiwanis, and Elks, other fraternity lodges, how they've addressed membership issues and are succeeding. And we've looked at best practices from the corporate and nonprofit worlds. Our area governors are being trained and tasked with the business of consulting the branches on how to start up this new membership growth plan. And they have extensive program knowledge and a real willingness to help. So branches don't have to start down this path on their own. They've got coaches available to hold their hands, to share ideas from around the SUR network as to what's worked, and to help the branch put together a good, solid plan for getting started. Well, when do we begin? Well, we need to begin now because we have an immediate membership issue. And in particular, many branches right now with satisfactory membership are having great difficulty in filling their leadership positions. So they could use some new members that are willing to step up and move into leadership. Can I have the next one? Next slide.
It should be there.
Okay. Branding, what is it? Well, it is a message and an image which defines the organization to the outside world. Let's take, for instance, Target stores. They have a very snappy red and white Target sign on all their external communications, all their advertisements in the newspaper, on the sides of their store, on the front of their stores. When you see this image, you immediately identify it as a department store. And along with that image is attached additional information in their external communications. And that information, expresses their desires and mission, and that's to sell merchandise and make a profit. The plan that we want to move forward with is about propagating, that is distributing, publishing a brand image for SUR. And we want to do that through social media. a YouTube channel, and moving forward on area YouTube channels. And there'll be more information about this as this plan develops. Through media relations, and that can be press releases, community relations through Speakers Bureau, and golf programs. Now, the golf programs one may surprise you a little bit. Why is this here? Well, in our survey of SIR members, we found that 68% of the folks that are in SIR joined because they wanted to play golf. Golf is our #1 seller so far as why people join SIR. And if a branch already has a golf program, it ought to be part and parcel of its branding message. And if a branch does not have a golf program, that branch would be wise to start one. Now, there may be relatively few members in a branch without a program that play golf, but that doesn't mean you can't attract a bunch of new members for your golf program. Mark Stewart talked yesterday about how a branch can start a program, and there's some great information available on the NCGA website on how to do that. So plain and simple, we're recommending to every branch to start a golf program, not only for the enjoyment of your current members, but perhaps just as importantly, to attract new members. Next. Okay, when we're talking about starting up a branding program, an image program, a membership growth program, we are suggesting that you start with putting together a branch growth team. Well, what's the goal of this team? Well, it's to implement membership growth in the branch. These positions already exist in the branch, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And they become a team, these existing positions, by joint planning, coordination, and good communication among these members. Typically, the people we're going to identify for this team today work separately from one another. What we're suggesting is you bring them together, you designate them as a team, and you have them put together a coordinated plan so they can work together to grow membership in your branch. People that you would typically put on a growth team would be your publicity chair, your website editor, your newsletter editor, and your membership chair. Well, we think of publicity as external communication. Obviously, you want to reach out into the community to get new members. But why the website editor or the newsletter editor? Well, for a couple of reasons. With so many of our internal communications, that is to say, the website information that is directed to existing members, the newsletters that go out to existing members, those are on the website, and prospective members look at the website and look at these two pieces of information to determine whether SIR is what they want to join. So it's important that the information in your internal communications carries, the brand and the image, the message of SIR. Now, the others who can participate with this growth team could be the big SIR, the little SIR, certainly. the team needs the support of the Big Sur for sure. And certainly, if you have a ramp team, which would include a recruitment and activities chair, for instance, bring the ramp team members that are connected to membership growth into this growth team with the publicity chair, the website editor, the newsletter editor, and so on. They will make your growth team. For most branches, those positions are already in existence and they're already filled. All we're saying is bring them into a team, have them put together a plan, have them coordinate their activities, have them communicate to one another, and have regular meetings of this team to discuss their results and to plan for the future. Okay, next. Reaching the public. Well, as I said, branding is message and image. We really need to push our SUR brand to the public through every personal contact. Okay. This would include typical media publication. And as I say, internal, external communications, social media, of course, and one-to-one conversations that we're having with prospective members. People who do the one-to-one recruitment, which is important, should be familiar with the brand and image. They should be familiar with the messages that the branch is broadcasting to the outside community, and they need to repeat those messages in their one-to-one outreach. Speakers bureaus, great contact. Those speakers, again, they need to be familiar with the brand and image, and they need to clearly speak to them when they make their public appearances. As I say, social media is really critical to reaching a wider community and a bigger audience and a younger audience. Now, some branches may say that they don't have members that are familiar with social media. They may not have members that follow social media. Well, the point is, the social outreach, media outreach, is designed to bring our message to the outside community. Just because a branch does not have a lot of members that follow social media, it doesn't mean that there aren't great numbers of prospective members in the community that do. And the way we're going to reach these prospective members, particularly younger members, is through social media. Social media is how our next generation after us communicates. We need to be part of that conversation, and we need to get SUR into that conversation through social media. Next slide. Okay, here is a little chart that talks about people and activities that fall into attraction and ones that fall into recruitment. Recruitment in SUR is primarily one-to-one conversations with friends and associates. And typically, as we get older, we're going to be reaching out to older people. So typical one-to-one recruitment is going to bring in new members that just look like our existing members. Okay. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not going to get the younger leaders we need. Attraction is really about getting our message out to a much larger community to where they independently seek membership in SIR. They contact us, and that attraction is towards a target community of younger men interested in social activities. Okay, can I have the next slide? Okay, here's some priorities for the branches to get their growth team going. Communications. Those on the team, they need to stay in constant contact with one another. They need to read emails, they need to respond to each other, and they need to initiate communication describing what they're doing to the other members. They need to meet regularly. They need to report to the BEC. The BEC is the governing board of the branch. It needs to know what the team requires in terms of resources. It needs to know what the team goals are, and it needs to know what the progress is. We have found that so many SIRs are not reading SIR emails. It's important for those of us in the SIR leadership community to pay attention and to read and respond to SIR emails. And the next question is, how is the branch getting and sharing information? Is the information widely available? Is your branch, are your branch members knowledgeable of what's going on in the branch? This is important because if the growth team is going to communicate with those people who are doing one-to-one recruiting, the necessary communication network needs to be in place. The information needs to be going out, and it needs to be of a quality and of an interest where branch members are listening to it. Brand implementation. This is about getting the proper images in place in your messages. Mary Odbert is going to talk a little bit about the brand guide and how that will help you bring your branding into compliance with the plan for the entire SIR organization. And social media engagement. This means using these tools. And as I've said before, if you don't have somebody that's familiar with social media now, it's important to get somebody. This is going to be the key media in the future. Your governors are being trained on social media. They can give you assistance in training somebody who's willing to take on this task. And once you get to know social media, and it isn't hard to learn, you'll find it's very quick, very efficient to put together a message and get it out to a wide audience. So that the person that takes up this position is not going to be a full-time employee of SIR. It's a very, very part-time position. Next slide. Okay, let's review. Okay, for branches, implement your growth plan now. Support the effort to reach the public. Make sure that you get your branding in order for your branch. Make sure that you get somebody who will take on the social media communication piece. Make sure that he has the resources that he needs to do an effective job, and establish your branch growth team. Now, the branch growth teams, there's going to be a series of roundtables to help train the branch growth teams, to give them an opportunity to share their successes with other branches. And they'll be coming up the early part of next year. Implement your branding and communicate to the public through various means. And so think about, in addition to the social media, a speakers bureau. Think about releasing press releases. And shortly we will have a template for a press release. We're all in the season where we've just finished electing our branch officers. So this is a good opportunity to do a press release on the selection, the biography of your new Big Sur. It's also a good time to talk about next year's golf program. I know that when Branch 98 did a quick analysis of how much business our growth our golf team brought to the local community, it was over $250,000. And I can tell you, in many communities, that's a topic for an article in a local newspaper about the number of golfers that SIR has, about the great golf courses they have an opportunity to play, and just how much money they're contributing to local businesses, sporting goods stores, golf courses, restaurants, coffee shops, and so on. So there are wonderful opportunities to get free publicity in the local newspapers. With that, let me close off and ask if there are any questions. I know this has been a little bit brief. Really, my job is to say, number one, public image is about membership growth and getting the leaders of the future, and that you'll have support from your local governor and state organization to get your new membership growth program going, and that the process of getting this team off the ground and growing your membership is pretty straightforward. And you have a number of members in place that separately and perhaps independently are already doing much of the work that we're talking about. So with that, do we have any questions?
Thank you, Dave. We've got Jay Gordon up there who's got his hand raised. Jay, if you'd like to unmute and speak, please.
Jay,
yes.
Before you start,
Yes.
what's the J stand for?
It stands for J. J-A-Y.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Jay.
So David, I was very interested in your presentation today, and you may not care that I say this, but I wrote down 3 key words from your presentation, and they happen to be communication, attraction, and infrastructure. And I guess my issue is that in our particular branch, we are having such basic infrastructure issues that it seems to me like I'm going to have a very difficult time getting to the concept of growth and attraction and communication, et cetera. And when I say infrastructure issues, I mean things like we're not all vaccinated, so we can't get together in a room. Our BEC is lacking any more than about 4 or 5 active leaders. And it seems to me like until we shore up infrastructure, it's kind of like talking about third world countries. Until you can provide clean drinking water and food, you have a hard time thinking about building a new building. Does that make any sense?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for that summary. Could you repeat that summary? I think it's better than something I could come up. Could you repeat the summary for me?
The 3 words that I wrote down, I don't know whether you would agree, but they're infrastructure, attraction, and communications.
Well, I think it's a great summary. It's an outstanding summary. So let's talk about infrastructure in your branch. No question that COVID has pushed many organizations like ours back a step. And I understand your issue with your BEC. One of the things that the state has just announced is that we have a new minimum for BEC composition. Okay. In light of giving branches more control, more innovation, we're allowing a smaller BEC. So take a look at the state website. There'll be an announcement on that shortly. But you're not on a bad boy list because you're down to that number of members. And it could be that for your branch at this time, that number of members on the BEC is sufficient. As far as the rest of the infrastructure question, you bring up a really good point, because one of the nice things about this attraction piece, you can do it right now without having to have branch luncheons or even activities. You can designate one person, at least at the start, to put together a little growth team. And I think so long as you get some branding in place, which can be done, during this hiatus due to COVID, and learn to use social media, one person can reach out into the community right now and perhaps get you some new members, so that when your branch does further open, you're going to have a cadre of new people to join your activities. You're going to have a cadre of people to take up some leadership positions. And I guess what I'm saying is this growth team stuff is sort of a back office operation in a sense. So I would suggest you go for the new members. And if you look at the new state new member oath, part of it is that when asked, a new member will take on volunteer assignments. So, as you orient the new members, suggest to them that we are a self-governing kind of organization. We are entirely a volunteer organization. And it's going to be incumbent on the new members, when asked, is to help with the government of the branch so that it will continue into the distant future. So, did that help at all?
Yes, that helped. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I would like to put my hand up and make a quick comment there, Dave. The word attraction could be translated in another way as well. And another way to do it would be, instead of thinking of recruiting new members, we have to attract new members. Our branches have to have a value. So if I'm a person outside looking in at SIR, there has to be something that SIR is offering to attract me to come and join. If we only offered a luncheon, I don't know that we'd get a huge response. But if we have good activities, then I think the response is going to be greater. So if we take what you said about golf, if you don't have a golf club running at your branch, a quick way to start would be to find another branch that has golf and join them for golf, so that we spread it around in the area. Ditto with bowling, ditto with bocce ball or tennis or drinking or eating or whatever we do. try and work as a team with the other area branches. And I think we'd be a lot stronger doing that. And
Thank you, Derek. Absolutely.
yeah, and the other thing is, let's not just focus on bringing in new members. Let's make sure we don't lose too many old members, existing members. And how do we keep existing members? Well, again, I think it comes down to interesting activities. So let's work on activities as well. Thank you.
Pat?
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, Pat Reed.
Yeah, I just wanted to say on top of that, when we also need to emphasize on the Speakers Bureau, like Derek was just saying about attraction. If we have for interesting speakers to make to accommodate, like Branch 35 has, and I've attended several to put Branch 35 out there as far as the speakers that they have. They're very informative, very knowledgeable, and very interesting. So I think that the thing that I'm going to cover tomorrow was going to be on the Speakers Bureau and attraction and recruiting. But we need to do those aspects as well to, make it interesting for them to attend. That's what I needed to say.
Absolutely.
Another question from Jack Reefer.
Yes, thank you. I noticed on the membership applications, when a new member or when a new member signs up, on the backside, of course, there's all kinds of activities listed. And that's a good way to get that new member to get involved in some of the activities that maybe some of the other guys do want to get involved in, but ask the new member, hey, listen, why don't you head up this little committee and try to get some of our old guys more involved in some other activities also, along with the new people.
Good comment, Jack. And by the way, I'd like to congratulate Jack. Last night he was elected area governor 4. It's going to be great to have you part of the state team, and thank you for your commitment to serve.
Well, thank you very much, and I hope to continue on and help at least the area 4 to build itself.
You will.
The next question is from Richard Provost.
Yeah, it was just a comment about what Jack just said. Jack, I hope you attend tomorrow because it's strictly about the recruitment and the application of what you just talked about.
All right. Thank you, Richard.
And next is Dean Strachan.
Yeah, I wanted to make a little clarification or get a clarification. The Speakers Bureau, as I understand it, is to help us find speakers. That is a little different than publicizing what your speaker is going to be or that you're going to have a specific speaker. That really has to do with what we were talking about, which is publicity and getting that out. So there are two little different concepts that kind of work together. One is to make sure that you've got access to good speakers, but the other is to publicize the fact that you're going to have a speaker so that you can attract potential members.
Very good. Good point.
Carl Mason, area governor.
Okay, I've unmuted myself. I'm very good. Anyway, yeah, Area 7, we have one group already set up, and I've given presentations to 2 of my branches. One of the biggest things is when we start talking about Facebook and Nextdoor, I see panic in people's eyes, I mean, these people are not that technically qualified. I'm wondering if we can, is there someone at the state or someone that we could say, well, you can go to there and they can tell you how to do this. Setting up a Facebook page is okay, but learning how to present and give a attractive posting and that sort of thing is kind of difficult with the people we've got. That's all.
Yeah, state is absolutely committed to giving all the support we can, either with group trainings, with individual mentoring, however. this is important, and we'll provide the support to make it happen on the ground. And yeah, as we get older, we get a little slower in terms of learning new things, but we can do so. We just need a little help, and computer training is something we can do, but we need help. Yeah.
Rick, could you reiterate what you put into chat about the age of the people we'd like to see join?
Yeah, before I do that, the other comment, there's actually another speakers bureau that we've talked about and we use within our branch. I did it a lot when I was Big Sur. I went out and I spoke to other organizations and explained what SIRs were. I put on Vietnam commemoration programs for other organizations, and also that gave me an opportunity to talk about SIRS. So there's a speakers bureau for potential speakers to SIRS, and then there's a speakers bureau from within that goes out and sends the message on what SIR is all about. Regarding the question about do we have a limit on age, I don't think we really do. I think our target we talk about is 55, but I can tell you I've seen branches with guys that are 45 or 50 that are retired early. I think the main thing is we are looking for people that can become participate in our activities and hopefully are potential leaders. We don't have a base on age, so I think that's what I said in the chat room.
Thank you. I'm not sure. I think we're running a little long here. Chris, could you ask your question quickly?
Yes. Are we actually seriously considering opening the branches up to women?
You want me to take that?
Sure.
Okay, we have several branches. One, I guess you'll hear probably more about that coming up. There's been some already. Rossmore is reactivating, and one of the reasons the branch at Rossmore shut down was lack of membership or lack of leadership. And as you probably well know, a lot of these retirement communities are probably 70–80% ladies. So on a trial basis, the board has approved ladies into that branch. It's a by branch situation. I think our intent is to see how that goes. We've got several other branches that are having exactly the same problem. No one is stepping up to become leaders. So rather than closing the branch, we're saying if that branch wants to bring in ladies, we welcome them. It's not an official policy yet. It's still being considered as far as if we change bylaws, but you look at Elks and all the rest of them that went this path. They've grown since they've done it. Our mentors or our leaders in 1958 are probably all rolling over in their graves even hearing this, but we have to change with the times. And when I was the area governor, I went to my 7 branches BEC meetings, and I asked them each unofficially how they felt about it. This was 3-4 years ago, and 5 said no problem, we'd love to have them, and 2 were damn no, hell no. So I think if you open that door, you'll gain some and you're gonna lose some, and we're not quite there yet, but we're getting closer.
Derek?
Yeah, I was going to add on to what Rick's saying. It's a pilot project at the moment, isn't it, Rick?
Yes, yeah, that's a proper term.
Yeah, to see how it goes on. And like Andy said, I was going to say we're running slow. If there are no more questions, could we move on to have Mary do her presentation? Okay, Mary, I think it's yours.
Okay, so now I have to find, I have to find my presentation.
If you have a problem, I've got it.
Well, it is up, but not showing when I look for it. So let me see if you guys can see this now.
Yeah.
Can Can
Yeah,
you
we
see the,
Yes,
okay,
but could you make it full screen? Yeah, that's it.
great. Oops.
Good.
So thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you, Dave, for that great summary of the plan. And what I'm going to talk about today is the brand style guide and a little bit about social media. And I'm going to take a sort of practical approach to it. I hope how to put these things to use. So I hope all of you who have heard my presentation in these areas multiple times will get a new view and some more information. So what's a brand guide or a brand style guide? I use both terms. A brand guide helps us control the message and image of individuals or organization because they teach us how to use the brand. So we created a brand for SIR. The Public Image Committee and the officers all contributed to approving how we developed that. And the goal was to attract new members, as we've been talking about, by presenting this controlled image, and the image will be delivered by everyone and in every communication. So it's an instruction guide. It allows us to show everyone the brand in everything we do consistently and repetitively. We recreate it and reinforce the image when everyone uses it. So I'm going to harp on that. Everyone uses it, please. Goal, because that's how it really becomes a tremendous tool and has the greatest impact. So it enables SIR to push the brand to the public through every public contact. And I want to reiterate what Dave said about public contact. It's not just the news release that actually goes to what we consider the outside of SIR, but it's communication within SIR, because everyone within SIR has contact outside and they communicate in their own ways. So we're always in public with our brand whenever we talk to anybody or talk about SIR. So how do you use a brand guide? So I put together some examples that I thought we could talk through. And so the first one is, so how does the brand guide help you with the newsletter? So if you're the newsletter editor, you're going to be doing a lot of writing, editing, and you're going to have photographs that you use in the publication. So you might open the first page, which is the table of contents, and look at voice and imagery and say, oh, I need to be up on that. And so you go to that page and you can see how to apply voice and imagery. So copy should be upbeat, positive, conversational, but grammatically correct, and avoid passive voice. Now, some of that, we were taught in elementary school, grammatically correct and avoid passive voice, but it's always a good reminder. And the upbeat, positive, conversational, that's what we want everyone to feel about SIR. So it's about expressing feelings almost. We want it to be fun. We want them to feel positive and upbeat about SIR and when they participate in SIR. So you have an example there. And then below, you have imagery recommendations. So we're looking for people in portraits and photographs that represent the same age as your target audience and doing things that are uplifting and enriching. So obviously we want you to take pictures at your events. And then you may not, as we've already discussed, have a lot of people 55 in those photographs, but that's okay. They're doing the uplifting and enriching. But when there's an opportunity, when you're not necessarily showing pictures of an event that's just happened, take that photograph and look for people in it that might represent the target audience of a little bit younger, such as the picture here does. So how does the brand guide help in planning a golf tournament? So not a lot of writing maybe, but you might need the logo. So for signage, for signups, for awards. So you would go to the logo page. You can see clearly this is our logo. And it's important because there have been several iterations of logos in this organization. And this is the official logo now. And particularly look to see, it says social activities for men, because even that bottom bar has changed over time. So we want to make sure this is the logo that everyone's using. There's another page that talks a little bit about how to apply it. So we don't want to fuss with the logo very much. It stays the way you receive it electronically. There's some guidelines on the right that talk about minimums. So the goal of the guide isn't to come up with copy or cookie cutter materials in every branch. It's to get an overall look and feel and expression of image that you can tailor to your own branch and have it a little bit different because your branch is a little bit different. But you can use these standards to guide you. So in developing some of those materials, some of the signage, you might want to look at color. So the red on the left is our standard red, and we want to see that in almost in everything. But you can also pick 2 other colors to use. So we don't encourage you to use all of them. All this information is here in the copy on the page. So it's really a fabulous tool. So how does the brand guide help prepare for the next luncheon? If you're preparing for the luncheon, you're going to think, you know, how does this help me? It doesn't, we're going to eat lunch. How does that have anything to do with eating lunch? But you may have materials or presentation, you'll have signage. So I thought I would show you the topography sign. Did you know that SIR has a font that's all its own? Well, not exclusive to SIR, but Lato Black has been designated as the font for use with SIR materials. We also have Arial. The red circle here indicates, in fact, can you see my cursor when I move it? Anyone? Yes, okay. Thank you, Derek. So the this highlights that Arial is also available to use. Arial is a very common font. Almost everybody has that on their computer when they get it. Lato, though, you have to download. The Lato is a free Google font. This page from the guide tells you how to download it for Windows and for Macs. So it's not particularly difficult, but if all else fails, Arial is always available for you. So this just represents some of the information that's available in the guide. It's meant to be helpful, and you really, everybody who does any kind of communicating, event planning, activity organization within SIR needs to be familiar with this. So share it, read it, please. It's the foundation of the plan and the outreach to the community, our efforts at attractions. So we want to make sure everybody has access to it. So goals. So we would love to have all the branches review their materials for brand adherence. And then to update the materials, internal and external, so that they do conform if you find that they don't. Going forward, you know, please use this as a reference tool so that all your materials you create new don't have to be changed. They conform immediately. And the public image team is available to you. We're happy to, well, speaking for them, I hope everybody's okay with that who's on the call. There's help out there if you stumble a little bit. There's also materials that the Public Image Committee has helped create that are available to you on the website and the sirinc.org website, and on Vistaprint, which I believe Tony's going to talk about in a few minutes. So that is my brand style guide presentation. Does anybody have any questions about that?
I don't see any hands raised, Mary.
Okay.
Wait.
There's comments in the chat box.
Bruce has his hand up.
Okay.
Yes, I was the one who typed the question into chat.
Oh, I did not see the chat.
So when I opened Lato on my Windows PC, the fonts had slightly different names from the brand guides. I have Lato, Lato Black, Lato Hairline, and Lato Light. Can you tell us how those map onto the font names in the brand guide?
Well, I'm going to back up, Bruce, because so it basically, if I think these are examples of what you might come with, but the regular did not come down onto your laptop when you did that.
So I interpret it as being Lato without regular. If you don't bold it or italicize it, I imagine that's Lato regular.
Yes, I think so. Yes. So basically, these are examples. And the family of Lato is larger and has more options. So you're welcome to use those options. These are the two we would choose that you use the most on an everyday basis. Does that help, Bruce?
I'm not sure. Like under Lato Bold, it says this semi-bold version of the font family. And is it the bold version or a semi-bold version that I don't have? I sent you an email about this. Maybe we can sort it out offline.
Okay, no, I think that whatever you downloaded is fine. Semi-bold version might have been a designer's take on the bold. Maybe it's not as bold as some others. I didn't catch that when we were editing. So I will look into it for you though. Thank you for sending the email.
Mary, there's a couple comments on the chat box. Ron from Branch 47 says nothing defines Sir on this logo. And then kind of with that, Ken says, what's the significance of the rooster in our logo? Does anyone know? That goes back into the history of Sirs, I believe. Someone else can jump in, Derek, but I believe that the symbol of the rooster, it was in the beginning to show a barrel creature, and that epitomizes a bunch of old guys, and we're saying the rooster, the rooster that walks around the barnyard and crows once in a while and gets cocky once in a while. That's Sir. So that's what the symbol kind of means.
I've also heard it's the older guys strutting their stuff after they've retired.
Right.
Yeah. I have.
Go ahead.
I had that question about there's no thing that defines what SIR stands for in this logo. And none of the branding information in your presentation showed it either.
That's because originally what it stood for is something we're no longer talking about. You no longer have to be retired. So, and there's, a lot of logos don't have any logic to them. The Nike check, isn't it Nike that's got the check mark? The swoosh. Don't have to, the swoop. They don't necessarily have to conform to a name.
So how does that make sense? If we're promoting Sir and nothing in the branding says what it stands for, I mean,
it stands for social activities for men. That's what you're presenting.
It doesn't stand for sons in retirement?
No.
No.
Let's explain that a little bit again, Mary.
Yeah.
The board has decided to take away the emphasis of retirement as a requirement to join Sir. So the way we've always used shorthand for the organization is to say Sir, not sons in retirement. So using Sir as the connecting link, if you like, between the old and the new, we don't have to explain it. We just say we are Sir and leave it at that. And because it's other things that we offer are going to attract people. After all, if you're 55 and you think retirement is 77 or 80-year-old folks, you may not exactly want to join a gang of oldies. So call it sir, and we don't have to explain it, I think.
So there was previously there was a tremendous emphasis on the retirement because of the emphasis on that R portion of the name. And when you remove that and you think about, and our research showed, our survey of the membership showed that what people are really here for is the social activities. And we want to emphasize that. They're here for fun. They're here to meet and play, through activities. And that's what we want to communicate strongest.
Then why didn't you change the logo to SAR? Or SAM?
Well,
Sir is a noun.
I'm sorry, there's an echo now, so I didn't change anything here, but I hope you can hear me all right.
Okay.
So
I
changing.
said my piece.
Somebody has their volume up too loud on their micro, or their speakers up too loud, causing the echo. So if everybody hits mute and only clicks mute when they want to talk, that will get rid of the problem.
So often a name change for an organization is a very big deal. You already had a number of changes that happened, changing from the emblem to the logo, taking retirement out of the name. Change is something that is an evolutionary process, and currently in the evolution, we are using SIR and emphasizing social activities. It may be that in the future, there's a further iteration, but this is what I believe everybody felt was the strongest way to go. And I think if we could go to Dave first, because he is the chair of this committee and he might have some comments about this. Dave Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Dave, you're on mute.
I thought I'd taken myself off. Okay, so this is based on a board decision. I think the key here is we're about social activities for men. In the background is the traditional Sir rooster, which we all enjoy. In front of it is a form of address for an esteemed man in many, many cultures. We will typically address an older person as sir. We will address a military officer as opposed to an enlisted person as sir. That was not, I don't think that was really the overt intention of the board, but sir as a form of address for an esteemed male in front of a rooster, to me, works pretty well. This is about men, and the sir would suggest that it's about special men or revered men or perhaps wise men. And so, maybe we get some message there by accident, but I think it works in that regard. And again, social activities for men, that's what we're really all about. So anyway, I don't know if that helps, but it's sort of the best I can do under the circumstances.
Yeah,
So Mike also had some questions.
Well, actually, the question was raised about the rooster. Damian Reynolds was our founder, and we have a blurb in our roster that describes it, if I may. The corporation's copyrighted insignia is the rooster, or more appropriately called the golden chanticleer. As quoted by Damian Reynolds, quote, "Of all the creatures on earth, none expresses independence and dignity with more sureness and aplomb than the rooster. The majesty of his presence is felt in every barnyard, and when he crows, he can be heard for miles, not in a faint-hearted crow, but with a noise that calls attention to his being," end quote. That's in our roster.
I've not heard that one before. Nice. So did we get all the hands, Derek?
I think so. There's a question here. Does everyone have to be retired to be a member? The answer is no, definitely. If you can spare the time to join in activities and lunch, you're very welcome to join SIR. It doesn't matter about your age at all. Who's there? Rick Powers? Sorry, Tom first. You came up first, I think. Tom, unmute. Please unmute. Please unmute. You can hold down the space bar. That will help you unmute. No, you're still muted, Tom.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. I've got an example, a very good example, I think, of a corporation that changed their logo, and it did not fare well with them. And that was Datsun changed to Nissan. And they actually, to this day, never got over the impact of that, the negative impact of that. Just a comment.
Yeah, from a marketing point of view, it's always risky to change your logo. But it was decided by the board a couple of years back to do so. And we're living now with the new one. So that's the other point to make about changing the name. It always comes up as a suggestion, is we've got 100 and something branches, each of which is an independent corporation. So when somebody says, why don't we change our name? It's not quite as simple as just going to the website and saying, hey, call us something else. You have to file new information with the state. And by state here, I mean the California Attorney General and maybe the federal income tax and the state income tax people. And plus the state, our own SIR state organization. It's a hell of a big job to even think of changing the name of 105 or 106 different entities. And since we're all volunteers and we've all got limited time, it's just one hell of a job. And at the moment, we're not going to do it, period.
Yes.
Okay, Rick Powers.
Tom, you stole my thunder. I was going to bring up the same thing of what happened to Datsun. We're looking at branding, we're looking for recognition, and now SIR doesn't mean anything. I'm at a bit of a loss at it, but I'm curious to see how it works.
Well, SIR at the moment does mean something. It means social activities for men.
That's exactly it.
We don't say
until we start letting women join.
Well,
Yes.
that at the moment is a pilot project to see how it works. Some people are going to be dead against it. Some people are going to be absolutely for it. We just have to give it a whirl and try. Okay. As the host today, I'm watching the time and we have to keep things moving. So if there are,
We have one more.
One more. Stu Ruth, please unmute and speak. You have to unmute first, please. Hold down your space bar if nothing else. No, you're not unmuted.
So if you roll over your picture,
If you're on a
those
PC,
blue bars should show up. There you go.
on a PC, bottom left, there's a little picture of a microphone. Have you got it?
He's got
I
it.
think so. You hear me
Good.
now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, I just wondering, our foghorn goes out to our members. Now you're talking about putting out another publication that with wider distribution, and will we get a mailing list for that? We don't have, we just have a mailing list for our foghorn. And how do
No,
what are you suggesting? I'm a little unclear about that.
No, we're not suggesting you send it to anybody else. We're just suggesting that you apply the brand style guide to it. So use the logo, use the colors, think about what you're putting in it, and try and imbue it with that idea that we're having fun in this organization and it's enjoyable and companionship, and try and instill that into anything that you produce for the members or for the public.
Okay, I don't have any, I get the feeling that contains it already. It's pretty much something that we look forward to getting, and we respond to by the invitations or the notations from the golf chairman or the membership chairman, or all the items that come up in the foghorn. I don't see that we're lacking in interest.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful to hear. So just double check to make sure you're using the colors that are in the brand guide and the correct logo, and you're good to go then.
Okay, I'm just wondering about that necessity of colors and things. It seems to me a little bit superficial.
Well, everyone's familiar with advertising, so I often compare it to advertising. They put ads on television. You don't do it just once. You do it multiple times so that it gets instilled in people's heads. So if you're doing it and send it once, or send it just to your members or to your media, they think, oh, okay, I've got this one sheet. But then the next time you send something out again, they say, oh, I've got this one sheet. And there's no, if you don't have consistent look and feel and logo use, people don't get to know the organization and remember it. So we're trying to achieve a place, and I'm sorry, outside my office, the dog is going crazy. We're trying to achieve a unified effort to continuously present SIR, so people start to remember and know SIR.
Yeah. Okay. You Datsun and Nissan was mentioned. I'm thinking of Mattress Firm. I like a soft mattress. Why would I go to a company that renamed themselves Mattress Firm? So
yeah, there's some changes that not everybody agrees with out there, but even Mattress Firm, because they put enough effort into getting that name out there, so you still know it. Whether you appreciate it or not is another thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for your appearance.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for your questions and for being here. So I do have one more subject to discuss with you, and that is social media. So if there's no more questions, we're going to skip to that now.
Yes, if you would, please.
Okay.
We need to keep rolling, Mary.
Yes, absolutely. So why social media? Because I think we've already talked about, there's a little bit of resistance or uncomfortableness with social media, but this is a tool that we want to take advantage of. It allows us to send our messages out, again, almost like advertising, because we can control it and send it out to the community. It reaches our target audiences. It does this inexpensively. Now, it does require time and effort, at which is not necessarily at a low cost, but it's a choice you can make with your own time and effort. And it's a tool that everyone can use, everybody can participate in. And it helps us get the name and image of SIR out, is the bottom line. Now, Dave talked about how we can do this as organizations, the branches and state, using social media. And that's absolutely true. But it is also true that having individuals help really pushes things along, because individuals in a social media network communicate. They, I don't know, you know, they echo your voice out through a larger community. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the individual perspective and utilizing Facebook and Nextdoor. And then you'll hear a little bit later from Neil about talking about Facebook and branches and areas for SIR. So let's talk a little bit about this. So I wanted to just also address the elephant in the room, that there are negatives about social media out there. And this is part of what I think you hear when somebody says, I can't do that, or I don't do that, or it's that they hear all about the negatives, and that's mostly politics, politics, and politics. So, and including, you know, the discussion of Facebook and how they handle their treatment of posts, and the fact that they now have a parent organization with a different name. But it boils down to, that's all politics, and we're not suggesting in any way that you get involved in anything like that. This is simply talking about SIR, talking about social activities, what we're all here about for SIR. So the benefit is where the emphasis should be, the benefits of social media. We've already talked about some of them, about it being free and it reaches your audience, but on a personal level, you can share photos of activities, kids and grandkids. You can share them with the distant family. You maybe you see one of your grandkids all the time because they live nearby, but another one's across the country. So you share photos with the other child or children. You learn hobbies or meet with people who share your hobbies through groups and things online. You can learn what's happening near you in your neighborhood or your community, and you can share information again, which is the reason we're talking about social media at all, to help promote SIR. So members, you yourselves, everybody who's on the call, can help by participating in social media. So I think I mentioned that we're going to talk about two social media platforms. Nextdoor is the first one. Nextdoor is a regional community-based social media, and they require you to sign up and actually prove you're local. So, you know, somebody from Timbuktu can't be on your Nextdoor unless they know somebody that they mailed something to, because what happens is you go on Nextdoor, you fill out their forms, and they mail you a postcard with a code on it. That code you then put back into social media, the platform, and you've got an account. You choose your region. Branches can utilize this to post announcements and invitations to attend events, which is, I think some of the branches have already been using this as a tool and have had good response from it. And you can join as individuals to support SIR. So this is what Nextdoor looks like when you look it up online. And over here, I cannot see because there's a login if you were actually a member. And here is how you sign up. Simple to sign up. And once you do, this is what you see. So the big oblong red circle, what is the place where you would post something if you wanted to. The only thing I've ever posted is events for people I'm working with or I've put on. So you don't have to post if you don't want to, but you still get all of these notes about things that are happening in your neighborhood. This is where you would put events. You click on that and you could list an event. So someone in the branch would have to be determined that that's the person posting the event. But Anyone can come in and talk about parking issues. You can talk about parking issues, road closures, thank yous to a neighbor. You can tell them you belong to SIR and how wonderful it is. So Facebook is the other social media platform, and Facebook is the largest social media platform in the world. It's a powerful communications tool. 69% of Americans use it, and among Americans 65 and older, 46% use Facebook. That's a lot of people. 55 plus represent 20% of all Facebook users. And just to get an idea, there's nearly 3 billion users around the world. So it's a powerful tool to reach that audience we want to reach. There's no question about it. So to help on Facebook as individuals, because remember I said Neil is going to be talking about the branch and area Facebooks. We want everyone to like or follow your branch, nearby branches, and the state's Facebook page. We want people to share, like, and comment on posts. This is what it looks like. This is SIR's Facebook page. And this is from a couple of weeks ago. So Happy Hollow Park and Zoo we're having an event for seniors that SIR shared. And you can see here, this circle is the like for the page. Down, oh, and I cannot. So down here, where I can't see, is the like, comment, and post. No, like, comment, and share, pardon me. And we want to encourage more than the likes, the comment and share. And I'm going to, so the reason is, sorry, excuse me for a second here. The reason is it makes SIR's Facebook posts more active for longer. So the more people are active on the post and interacting with it, the longer it stays up and will keep coming up. By sharing the SIR post, you give that post and SIR a wider audience. So then they meet, you know, potentially everybody who sees your page can see the SIR page. Participation on the page raises the page's status and expands its audience. So we want to encourage participation individually as well as the branches. So this is what it looks like on Facebook when you first go there and you sign up. It's much easier to sign up. There's no waiting game with the postcard as there is for Nextdoor, but you'll go on and then you determine how much information you put on there. You can put photos, you can add friends, you can give information or not. But we want to encourage you to join, encourage you to like pages, comment, and share posts in particular. And are there any questions? How many people are actually using social media currently? I'm going to stop sharing.
Mary, there are a few comments on posts or on chat book. Alan asked, these slides are clearly branded. Can someone create a SIR PowerPoint template from that for other SIRs to use?
Yes, you guys, this one is yours to use. And we can certainly pass that on if you want, Rick.
Should we use Patch as an area for social network?
Yes, absolutely. We didn't want to overwhelm everyone, but if Patch is active in your area, it's a great resource. It's similar to Nextdoor, but an earlier version, and some places it took off and some places it didn't. So it just depends on your region.
Nextdoor posting has been very successful. This is from Jack Reefer 93. From getting attention to our branch 93, we have several new members as a result. That's good.
Very nice.
Says, well, this is from Jim from branch 32, will SIR area or state level post on Facebook? I know I post to the state and I post to other branches too. So what it needs is content every day. One of the things I like to do is when I'm out golfing, I'll ask somebody, why did they join SIRS? And I've put those videos on. And we've had some street fairs where we had a booth, and I've videoed that and put it on.
Nice.
And I want to try to do more and more of that.
Those are great examples of things that you can do from the branch point of view.
And Ellen posted a link to SIR Facebook page. So we've got a state Facebook page, and we've got several branches that have already have Facebooks.
And you actually have a Facebook SIR face group, or I'm tripping over my tongue, a Facebook group too, which is different from a page. So see, this is the group, not the page.
Right.
Yeah, and branches individually can have their own group or pages.
And a group is actually, it's not necessarily going to attract outsiders as much as the page is, because I believe, and okay, Derek or Andy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the format for how they calculate
I like this
sharing
one.
that is.
I like that one right there.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yep. So I encourage use this as a communications tool between members. When you want to talk about something, use the page to put videos and things that you've done that you can want to share with the world.
Okay, I'd like to keep it moving because we're running a little late, I think. If there's no more questions, next person up, I believe, is Tony de la Sada from branch 8 with Tom de Grand. Are you there, Tony? Thank you very much, by the way, Mary. Sorry, I didn't cut you off so fast.
You're welcome. I was done.